Hello, mabuhay. So today we are going to make pork and chicken adobo. So first we're going to start with the pork, and I like to use the pork riblets, and all that is pork spare ribs cut into a small strip, and then I just cut in between the bones. So we're going to go ahead and add some lime, and I normally like to use calamansi, but my mom's calamansi tree hasn't bloomed yet, so I don't think it's the season yet. So today we're going to go ahead and just use the lime. It's just as good. So the calamansi is like a kumquat. It has a bitter, sweet, sour taste to it, like a lemon or a lime. It's in the citrus family. So we're just going to go ahead and squeeze some of this lime in there. I'm going to squeeze what juice is left from the lime. So this Filipino dish I have modified, so I'm making it my way. And here's the lime, and we're gonna go ahead and put the pork into my plastic mixing bag. If you don't have this, you can just use a Ziploc bag. And I'm gonna go ahead and pour the rest of the lime in there. And then I'm gonna go ahead and close it up, and we're gonna mix that lime into that meat. So we're just gonna swish it around the bag so that we can get that lime into that meat. And the lime gives it a nice flavor. Next, I'm going to go ahead and add the olive oil. And the olive oil, what it does is it helps keep the seasoning on the meat. You just need a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and close the bag back up, and we're going to squish it around and get that olive oil and lime mixed into that meat. And what I normally like to do is we're going to go ahead and bake this in the oven. You can fry it if you prefer, but I prefer to go ahead and put it in the oven. We're going to go ahead and season it first. I'm going to use the butt rub, and yes, it does say butt rub. If you don't have this in your store, it's optional. You don't have to use it. And we're going to go ahead and add some roasted garlic. That's seasoning from McCormick. Minced roasted garlic. You can use fresh garlic if you choose, or garlic powder. And now I'm adding the onion powder. I'm just going to sprinkle that in there. And we're going to go ahead and add some black pepper. Alright, we're just going to close the bag back up, and we're going to go ahead and mix it in there really good so that the seasoning can get on the meat. And you don't have to use a mixing bag. You can just mix it in a bowl if you prefer. I prefer using the mixing bag. It really gets the seasoning on the meat really good. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put it in the baking pan, and we're gonna cook it for about 30 minutes or until the meat is tender and slightly brown. We're gonna bake it for about 425 degrees. All right, and then next we're gonna start on the chicken. And there's your chicken. You can use whatever chicken you would like to use. You can do the thighs, the legs, the breast, whatever you prefer. Usually the thighs is, to my understanding, is more tastier. But I prefer white meat, so it's either breast or wings. So we're gonna go ahead and today we're gonna cook with the wings. We're gonna do the same thing with the lime. Sprinkle the rest of the lime juice into that chicken. The lime gives it a nice flavor. There's the rest of the lime juice. And I'm just gonna go ahead and pour it into the chicken. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead, I'm just grabbing my spatulas. We're gonna go ahead and pour some olive oil into the pan. And we're gonna probably put about 1 inch in height, because we're gonna be frying the chicken. We're gonna go ahead and put it on medium heat. And I'm gonna go ahead and add the chicken to my pan. So I always say that Filipino cooking is like cooking soul food. Filipinos like to cook with pride and a lot of love, just like soul food. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the chicken in here. And once you have it all in there, we're gonna go ahead and season up your chicken. Normally you can put in first the fresh garlic and let it fry till it's brown. And then you can put in your meat. So today we're just gonna use the minced garlic, roasted minced garlic by McCormick. And I had previously put in the black pepper, and now we're gonna go ahead and put in the onion powder. Well, it was the other way around. This is actually the roasted minced garlic. Now we're gonna go ahead and add the butt rub. Again, this is optional. You don't have to use this. I just like it. It adds a nice flavor to the meat. Now I'm gonna flip the chicken over, because we're gonna go ahead and season the other side the same way. We're gonna use the same seasoning. And you can season in any order. There's no specific order as to how you want to season it. So we're going to start with the black pepper. This is the roasted minced garlic. And onion powder. And then we're gonna go ahead and add the butt rub. So after this, I let it fry for about 10 minutes. And then I'm going to come back to it and I'm going to flip it over and let it fry for another 10 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and flip it over. And I'm going to let it fry for another 10 minutes before I come back to it. And I'm frying it in medium heat. Okay, so now the riblets are done. That's the pork. See, it's slightly brown, not over well done, because we're going to go ahead and put it into the pan with the chicken, and we're going to fry it some more. We're gonna fry it some more. I like it to be golden brown. I like my adobo to be crispy before I actually put in my soy sauce and vinegar. So we're gonna fry the pork and the chicken together. So between the broth and the of the pork and the broth of the chicken mixed in together, it creates a really nice flavor. Other than that, you can cook adobo just, if you don't want pork, you can just do chicken, or if you just want pork without the chicken, you can just do pork, whichever you prefer. And you can also do beef adobo. I just find this chicken and pork to be really good. So I'm gonna let it cook for about another 5 to 10 minutes before I add the soy sauce and vinegar. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and add the soy sauce first. And then I'm gonna go ahead and mix it in there. And after I mix it in there, I'm gonna let it simmer for about 5 minutes before I add the vinegar. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and add the vinegar. And I'm using 1 cup of vinegar. I also used 1 cup of soy sauce so that it's balanced. And before I do anything with this, I'm going to let it simmer in the vinegar for another 5 minutes. And I'm using the low sodium soy sauce, but you can use whatever soy sauce you want to use. So now I'm going to go ahead and mix it in. If you're going to use the regular soy sauce, then you're going to want to add some water, like a half a cup of water. But since I'm using the low sodium soy sauce, I don't need to add water. It's actually a perfect balance with the 1 cup of soy sauce and 1 cup of vinegar. It comes out perfect. So I'm just going to go ahead and mix it really good. And we're going to let it cook for another 10 minutes. So the word adobo was adopted from the Spaniards when they colonized the Philippines. So they had a similar dish that they called adobo. And so the Filipino adobo that we now make, it has a Spanish influence. So we're just letting this simmer. And after this, it's pretty much almost done. Let it simmer for another 5 or 10 minutes. And we're going to go ahead and add the bay leaf now. Some people like to add the bay leaf in the beginning. It doesn't really matter. It still will give it that taste. I'm going to put about 2. The bay leaf just adds some flavor to your cooking. And I'm going to go ahead and let the bay leaf simmer in there for another 5 minutes and cover it up. So after that, we're going to go ahead and add some peppercorn. Gonna mix it in there first. And you can use whole peppercorn and put it in there. I like to grind the peppercorn. So we're gonna add grinded peppercorn in there. All right. And we're gonna go ahead and let it simmer for another 5 to 10 minutes because it's pretty much done. But we're just gonna let it simmer some more. And then we're just gonna mix it all in there some more. And after that, it's gonna evaporate it a little bit. The broth is gonna evaporate a little bit. I like mine broth to be dry. I don't like too much broth. It's up to you, to your preference, if you like more broth or less broth. I normally make my adobo dry, but this time for this I was just gonna go ahead and make it slightly with broth. And there's your adobo. And I just added the onions. It's optional, you don't have to add onions. I added fresh onion at the end. And here it is. You can eat it with some rice. Enjoy.